farther in the all-new Jeep Cherokee Hybrid.
Good morning. And welcome to Unity of Palmyra. We are so happy that you've joined us this morning. We are an open and affirming community. We love you exactly as you are in all of your magnificent glory. And we are so happy that you've joined us this morning. I want to offer a special welcome to my old beloved friend, Dave County. For those of you who attended Unity of Harrisburg when Reverend Claudel was the minister, she sadly passed about 3 years ago, but Dave is and was her beloved husband, and it is so wonderful to have you here. It's just such a joy. Thank you for coming. Reverend Claudel was not only my first Unity minister, she was my introduction to Unity, and she became my mentor and my friend, and was just a wise and wonderful minister and human being. And it is just so wonderful to see you. I'm just all verklempt this morning. So anyway, memories. Okay, so I promise I will take a minute and just breathe into this beautiful day. We're just going to pretend that those thunderstorms aren't going to move in tomorrow, and we're going to enjoy the sunshine and this gorgeous temperature and the low humidity and the air conditioning. Amen. And so we breathe together. And we just revel, delight, enjoy the sweetness of this time together, where we have made the conscious decision to come apart for a while, to let the world do what the world does, to let the storms swirling around us do their best, while we become still and calm, grounded, present, fully here now, open and receptive to whatever this time together presents to us. Whatever wisdom, whatever joy, whatever music, whatever silence, we are open to receive it. We are open to take that deep dive into whatever wants to emerge today. And as always, we enter into this experience with gratitude as we say thank you. Thank you for this time to come apart for a while, to remember the truth of who we are. That we are spiritual beings having a very human experience. And I'm remembering that the first time I heard those words were from Reverend Claudel. We also say thank you for whatever space you were in this morning. We hope you are safe and cool and comfortable. Whether you're here in the sanctuary with us or whether you are joining us through the ethers, as Charles Fillmore would like to say. And finally, we say thank you. Thank you for this beloved community, so dedicated to making a difference in the world, to being that change that we wish to see. And so it is. Amen. So please stand. Together, may the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to hurt, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, divine Spirit. And so as we just discuss and explore and take that deeper dive into the power of wisdom today, we know that that wisdom can be found in every one of us. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us. I just remembered, it's like I've been sleeping for years. I'm not awake as I can be, but my seeing is better. I can see through the tears. I've been realizing that I bought this ticket and only watching half of the show. There is scenery and lights and a cast of thousands who all know what I know, and it's good that it's so. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us, by and by. Oh, that was lovely. Let's share together as we envision awakened hearts, empowered lives, and a world transformed through love. And our mission, wherever we go, we create an open, safe, and caring community, calling all to embrace their oneness with the divine through prayer, education, practice, and service. And one of the ways that we practice is to honor wherever you are on your hugging journey. So if you want to hug, this tells us that we can bring it on in with abandon. If you prefer a handshake, we will absolutely honor that. And if you want us to leave you completely alone, we totally understand. And we will respect whatever bubble you create about yourself. Have a great time. Yeah, we're so shy and retiring. And Gwen, I think they get chocolate next week. I, everybody was sitting down by the end of the drum solo, so I think they get chocolate. All right, so we have some announcements, and I'm going to go through these quickly because otherwise we're just going to become Church of the Holy Announcement this morning. So our prayer chaplains today are Lisa Bechtel and Sarah Hancock, and Lisa will be sharing joys and concerns with us today. We have a couple of upcoming events. Our next Sound of the Sanctuary is this Friday, June 26th. Please plan to be here for that. And then Sunday is our hug meeting Sunday, and the menu for fellowship will be Dad's favorite recipes, so be here for that. There are Source of Light food donation sheets downstairs. Please sign up to donate food for the Source of Light event between July 31st and August 1st. I mean, sign up now for the event between July 30, you know what I meant. So I heard that the Summer Queer Book Club discussion on Thursday was amazing. I wish I could be two people on Thursday evenings, but the next one is going to be on July 16th. And do we remember what that book is? Here on Earth, we're briefly gorgeous. I love that. That is such a great title. And then also, I think I mentioned this last week, but in case I didn't, the Lebanon Pride Committee reached out to us and asked if we would be willing to host an exhibit and lecture on the Stonewall riots. And of course, we said, heck yeah. So we are going to be hosting that on Friday evening, August 14th. Please do put that on your calendar. It's going to be absolutely lovely. And then two more things. Please, these are kind of related. Please sign up for our field trip on July 12th, because I do want to reach out to those 4 communities and just kind of let them know how many of us are going to descend upon them on July 12th. And there was some interest, I think I mentioned last week, that my friend Lori, Reverend Lori Petrosino, has a ministry she calls SING, Spirituality in Nature Group. And so she leads people on these wonderful hikes in nature. And then she has like a topic, and so she'll ask questions as you go. And then there are times where you sit and she'll lead a meditation. And when I talked about that, some of our folks said, oh, we want to do that. So we're going to have 2 opportunities. Because her church in Mount Laurel, New Jersey is one of the churches that we can go to on the field trip. And she said she's willing to do kind of a short version for us after that service. But she is also willing to come to us locally on July 26th. I made a flyer, and lead on an actual experience like she would lead her folks in New Jersey. So the flyer will go out this week. I think Karen and Misty have kind of been heading up that effort. Good, Gwen's nodding yes. So if you have any questions, I will be on vacation next Sunday, but if you have any questions about this, just talk with them. And the flyer should be in the weekly email this week. And Lori is just amazing. And it was really cute when she sent me Kathy and I the information for the flyer. She said, well, since you are my husband's summer church home, because Mark comes regularly on Sundays because he hikes and he camps here. So apparently we are officially his summer church home. So she wants to hang out with you guys a little bit because Mark does, okay? All right, so we'll have a sign up for that starting probably next Sunday. So Jennifer has an announcement. There you go. You're on.
Yeah, the social activism team is going to be tabling the All of Us 250 event, which is next Saturday, the 27th, behind the Capitol building. All of Us 250 is honoring and recognizing the people who have made our community stronger in honor of the 250th anniversary of the U.S. We would love to have you attend and volunteer if you can. A couple of our members are incapacitated temporarily, so we could use a little extra help. It's going to be a great event, so if you would see me or one of the other social activism team members at the end, we can give you more details. Thanks.
And I understand you've been creating stickers and ordering candy.
We have been doing a lot of things.
Because
including
if you
those.
feed them, yes.
And there will be food trucks there also.
And food trucks, so food.
Food.
Yeah, okay. All right, did I get everything? I'm looking around. All righty, so Miss Lana, would you please read the daily word?
Good morning. A blessing for fathers. I celebrate fatherhood and bless all fathers today. Today I bless my father and give thanks for the part he played in my life. I also bless those who showed me fatherly love, who taught and guided me, who led by example by demonstrating the divine attributes of strength and wisdom. The love and support I received from all the father figures in my life helped me become the person I am today. I am grateful for these special ones who saw my potential and encouraged me to reach high and pursue my dreams. I am also thankful to them for the encouragement they provided during times of disappointment and discouragement. I bless the world's fathers and pray they know the support and guidance they have so lovingly shared with me. And from Proverbs 27, verse 7, the righteous walk in integrity. Happy are the children who follow them.
I am home, my family is here. I feel loved by the ones I hold so dear. And when my family needs me, I promise to be there. And when I need my family, I'm lifted up in prayer.
So on this Father's Day, let us hold in our hearts the presence of Father. This may arise from a memory we have of our own fathers. It may arise from memories we have of father figures, or the presence of Father may also arise from our imaginations as we imagine and hold the ideals of the one we would like to be and to hold us as Father. So we breathe that presence deeply into our hearts, and we feel the safety and protection. We feel the wisdom and guidance that is there for us always. And we may even feel the arms around us or a hand holding ours. And into this presence, into this atmosphere of safety and strength and wisdom and guidance, we bring to mind and heart our concerns, those things in daily life that challenge us, or perhaps those once-in-a-lifetime traumas, whatever is of concern for us right now in our individual lives, in the lives of our family and friends, in the lives of our country and world. We hold those concerns in the presence of safety, wisdom, and guidance. And we feel safe, and we feel guided, and we feel held. And into this presence also, we bring our great joys and our little joys. Perhaps the small joy of waking up with the sun shining. And we imagine sharing that joy with this presence of Father. And we bring the great celebrations of our life. And we feel the joy of this presence that surrounds us always. We feel the pat on the back or the ruffle of our hair or the squeeze of our hand. And we know that in this presence, that we can call forth at any time in our hearts. We are held, we are loved, and all is well. Namaste.
The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. You are beautiful. You are whole. You are beautiful. You are whole.
I am so impulsive to a fault. I want the opposite of what I've got. The second I get bored, I switch it up, making bad decisions based on temporary thoughts. I know they say there's greener grass. For me, it's never about that. The second I get bored, I switch it up, making bad decisions based on temporary thoughts. My favorite hobby, self-sabotage, can never seem to make my mind up. Change my opinion more than my socks. Let me tell you about the time I took my friend out the friend zone, 'cause I felt so sad, sleeping alone. And I put him right back, just like that, 'cause I miss being by myself. I am so impulsive to a fault. I want the opposite of what I've got. The second I get bored, I switch it up, making bad decisions based on temporary thoughts. I know they say there's greener grass. For me, it's never about that. The second I get bored, I switch it up, making bad decisions based on temporary thoughts. One day I like you, then the next I don't. Can never seem to make my mind up, but I can't help it, it's out of my control. Let me tell you about the time I took my friend out the friend zone, 'cause I felt so sad, sleeping alone. And I put him right back, just like that, 'cause I missed being by myself. I am so impulsive to a fault. I want the opposite of what I've got. The second I get bored, I switch it up, making bad decisions based on temporary thoughts. I know they say there's greener grass. For me, it's never about that. The second I get bored, I switch it up, making bad decisions based on temporary thoughts. I want the opposite of what I've got. The second I get bored, bored, I switch it up. Making bad decisions based on temporary thoughts. I know they say there's greener grass. For me, it's never about that. The second I get bored, I switch it up. Making bad decisions based on temporary thoughts. Oh.
I'm embarrassed to say that I identify with that song way too much. Right? How many of us can relate to making bad decisions based on temporary thought? Yeah. Which is why we practice the pause. Right? So that reminds me of an old story where the student went to the master and said, "Master, how can I become wise?" And the master said, by gaining experience. And he said, "Well, how do I do that?" And he said, "By making good decisions." And he said, "Well, how do I learn to do that?" And he said, "By making bad decisions." Right? Yeah. We need to learn the difference between the two. So, welcome to the power of wisdom. So as you can see from our altar, this summer we are celebrating the 12 powers by exploring and learning more about 11 individuals who were either instrumental in founding our country or in shaping our country. And the reason we don't have 12 individuals is because on July 5th, we're going to do a readers' theater with 6 individuals. So stay tuned for that. So the dictionary defines wisdom as knowledge and good judgment based on experience or being wise, which I think is kind of cheating because you're using the word in the definition. But wise implies having knowledge and understanding of people and of what is true and right in life and conduct, and showing sound judgment in applying such knowledge. So, for example, knowledge knows that tomatoes are a fruit. Wisdom says we don't put it in fruit salad. In The 12 Powers of Man, Charles Fillmore wrote, "Wisdom includes judgment, discrimination, intuition," aha, "and all the departments of mind that come under the head of knowing." So wisdom, some of the powers, we have words that are interchangeable, like sometimes for zeal we use enthusiasm, but we use zeal because it's shorter and requires less time to embroider. Release is sometimes called elimination. Again, we use release for the above-mentioned reason. And sometimes wisdom is referred to as judgment. But the reason that I err on the side of wisdom is because judgment, the word judgment, has kind of gotten a bad rap, right? It's like, don't be so judgmental, judge not lest ye be judged. And what we want to do in our study of wisdom is differentiate between judgment as discernment, which is a good thing, and judgment as condemnation, which is not a good thing, right? So back to the judge not lest ye be judged scripture, it kind of makes more sense if we say condemn not lest ye be condemned. So the spiritual power of wisdom is most often associated with love. You know how we matched up faith and strength and those two brothers? Well, the apostle assigned to wisdom is James, and Charles Fillmore assigned John, his actual brother, as the power representing love, which Gwendolyn is going to cover next week. So the combination of wisdom and love is a great example of our ability to connect head with heart and to integrate the wisdom of both the head and the heart. Because anyone who's ever studied heart math knows that the heart has a wisdom all of its own. So wisdom without love can become kind of academic, and we can go down those intellectual rabbit holes. But love without wisdom can become a titch codependent, and that's when we make those bad decisions based on temporary thoughts, right, Becky? I remember when I was on the staff, James Trapp was the president and CEO of UWM, and he said there's information that informs, and then there's information that transforms. Wisdom is information that has the capacity to transform. So when we connect wisdom and love, when we connect those two powers, and not just connect them, but truly integrate them, it helps us to see beyond appearances. Now, this is kind of getting a little bit into the power of understanding, which, by the way, is going to be the subject of Reverend Lori's walk on July 26th. She's going to be exploring the power of understanding with you. So what we want to do is we want to build upon the faith and the strength that we've already looked at, and we want to layer wisdom and love on top of that, so no pressure, Gwen, so that we can move outside of our comfort zones, so that we can see that we are capable of so much more than we thought. So this is how we start to see that these powers all work together. So Charles Fillmore loved to use King Solomon as an example of wisdom in action, which makes sense given Solomon's wisdom. So Charles wrote, Solomon, when asked by the Lord what he should give him, chose wisdom above riches and honor. Then all the other things were added. Solomon was also a great judge, and he means here literally a judge, like in a court of law. He had a rare intuition, and he used it freely in arriving at his judgments and his decisions. He did not rest his investigations on mere facts, but sought out the inner motives. In the case of the two women who claimed the same infant, he commanded an attendant to bring a sword and to cut the child in half and give a half to each woman. Of course, the real mother begged him not to do this, and he knew at once that she was the mother. So my friend Cindy Wigglesworth, and for those of you who've studied spiral dynamics with me, you've heard her name before, she likes to see wisdom as a spectrum. And I think this is an interesting perspective. She says that at the beginning of the spectrum, we have data. We have information. We have evidence. We have facts, right? She said then data becomes information when we sort it. So we have all this random data, and it becomes information when we sort it into its logical, applicable arenas. Then she said knowledge is gained when we learn how to skillfully apply the information. You see where this is kind of leading here. And then she said wisdom is knowledge guided by compassion. And I would add a word there, apologies, Sin. I would add that wisdom is knowledge guided by compassion and experience. Again, please don't put tomatoes in a fruit salad, right? So I think when we are willing to learn from our bad decisions, and when we are willing to combine that kind of innate experience with our knowledge, that's when our true wisdom can bloom and can emerge. So this is what leads us to Benjamin Franklin. So we had a hard time with Benjamin Franklin because honestly, he could have been applied to so many of the powers. Originally, I think, I'm looking at Janie, I think we had dropped him into imagination, because boy, did he have an imagination. But then when we looked at everybody else, there was somebody else we wanted in there, and so I said, well, you know, he was very wise, and he was very knowledgeable, right? And one of the things that Benjamin Franklin is known for is sharing his wisdom. Poor Richard's Almanac, right? So we decided on Benjamin Franklin. So I'm just going to give a quick overview of his life. And you know, I've leaned away from doing like bios of these guys because I don't want us to be here till dinner time. But Benjamin Franklin's life was so interesting that I do want to hit on some of the high points in case you don't know them. And I think it was, oh shoot, I'm having, my brain just did a blip. The guy who does all of the amazing miniseries for PBS, Ken Burns. I think it was, thank you. I think it was Ken Burns who did an amazing miniseries documentary on Benjamin Franklin. And if you've never watched it, it is well worth, well, all of Ken Burns' documentaries are well worth the watch. But this one was really made me think, right? So, just some quick notes about Benjamin Franklin. So he was born in January of 1706. His father was a candle and soap maker, and his father was married twice, and between the two marriages, he had 17 children. Yowza. And Benjamin came from the second marriage, and he was kind of in the middle of those 17 children. So his formal education was very limited. The education that Benjamin Franklin did get, he was completely self-taught, and even the formal education ended when he was 10 years old. But he was an avid reader, and he taught himself how to write. At the age of 12, he was put to work, and he was apprenticed to his older brother James, who was a Boston printer. Now, lest you think that was child abuse, that was common in Benjamin Franklin's time. So, by the age of 16, he was writing essays, contributing to his brother's work under the pseudonym Silence Dogood. Yeah, I'll let you make up whatever you want about that. When he was 17, he ran away from his apprenticeship to Philadelphia, where again he found work as a printer. And in 1724, he traveled to London, England, and again found employment in the printing business. So he was 18 years old, and he went to London. So he came back in 1726, opened a printing shop, became very successful. In 1729, he started publishing. Sorry, I just can't control this tickle. So, he started the Pennsylvania Gazette, and he wrote a lot of the content. And then he started Poor Richard's Almanac, which he published every year from 1733 to 1758. Long time. It became known for its witty sayings, which often had to do with the importance of diligence and frugality, such as early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? So in 1730, well, this is where I think his life gets a little interesting. He began living with Deborah Reed. So she was the daughter of his Philadelphia landlady, and she, although they were together for 44 years, she was his common law wife because her husband had abandoned her. But because of bigamy laws and because she couldn't get a divorce, why? Because she was a woman, she couldn't marry Franklin. But they were together as husband and wife for 44 years, which did not stop Franklin from philandering. That's all I'm going to say about that topic. So they did have a son, Francis, who tragically died of smallpox at the age of 4, and then a daughter, Sarah. And then Franklin had another son who was born out of wedlock, but Deborah raised him as her own. And interestingly, and this Burns really went into detail, which I thought was interesting. So William Franklin, Benjamin Franklin's son, served as the last colonial governor of New Jersey from 1763 to 76. And he remained loyal to Britain. So he had to flee to England. I know, interesting, right? So as his printing business prospered, he got more and more involved in civic affairs. He started a number of community organizations in Philadelphia, including a library at a time when books were not available in the colonies. He started the city's first fire company, a police patrol, and the American Philosophical Society. He was amazing. He also organized the Pennsylvania militia, raised funds to build a city hospital, and spearheaded a program to pave and light city streets. He's reminding me here of Mayor Mondami. Anybody else seeing a... Yeah. He was also instrumental in the creation of the Academy of Philadelphia, a college which opened in 1751 and became known as, does anybody know? The University of Pennsylvania. So, he was a key figure in the colonial postal system. He was appointed the Postmaster of Philadelphia, and in 1753, he became Postmaster General for all of the American colonies. He instituted many measures to improve mail service, and was on one of the very first U.S. postage stamps, along with George Washington, which tells you the incredibly high regard that he was held in. So, in 1748, at the ripe old age of 42 years old, he had made enough money and expanded his printing business enough that he was able to retire. I know, right? 42 years old, Lana, seriously, I know. So in the 1740s, he decided to start conducting experiments. You guys know the one he's most famous for? The kite. Now, interestingly, he had fully insulated himself, and there was never any risk of him being electrocuted, but it made for a good story that he was putting his life on the line. He also coined a number of electricity-related terms, including battery, charge, and conductor. We owe all of those to Benjamin Franklin. He studied many other topics, including ocean currents, meteorology, causes of the common cold, wish that had continued, and refrigeration. And he also developed the Franklin stove. He created a musical instrument called the glass harmonica, which Beethoven and Mozart loved, but given how fragile it was, went out of popular use. And then in 1754, at a meeting of colonial representatives in Albany, Franklin proposed a plan for uniting the colonies under a national Congress, 1754. In 1757, he traveled to London as a representative of the Pennsylvania Assembly, to which he was elected in 1751. He came back to the States for a little while, but then he moved back to London, and he actually lived primarily in London, in England, for almost 17 years. So, which was interesting because when the king, did anybody else just see Jonathan Goff from Hamilton when I said that? Yeah, okay. When the king started saying, well, we've got to impose all these taxes and tariffs on the Americans, it was Franklin who was like, that's probably not a good idea. And in fact, it said that in 1766, Franklin testified in the British Parliament, telling them that the Stamp Act of 1765 was going to cause trouble in the colonies, and if only they had listened. So he did return to Philadelphia in May of 1775, shortly after the Revolutionary War had begun, and he was elected to serve as a delegate to the Second Continental Congress, which was our governing body at the time. Now, this I thought was funny. In 1776, he was oh, are you bringing me tea? You are the best in the whole world, thank you. Just in time for the funny part. Thank you, honey.
I'm related to Benjamin Franklin's illegitimate child.
You are related to Benjamin Franklin's illegitimate son? Wow. Woo! Well, that was serendipitous, wasn't it? Awesome. Okay, so here's the funny part. So he was part of a 5-member committee to help draft the Declaration, right? It's within the group, he said, Franklin is rumored to have been a jokester. And according to some sources, it was because of these humorous tendencies that he was not allowed to write the Declaration. I don't know, I think some humor would have helped, but. So anyway, that same year, Congress sent Franklin to France to get them to help with the Revolutionary War. In 1778, the French signed an alliance with America, and Franklin was actually given some credit for that. And as minister to France, starting in 1778, Franklin actually helped to negotiate and draft what's called the Treaty of Paris in 1783 that ended the Revolutionary War. So he was amazing. In 1787, he was a Pennsylvania delegate at the Constitutional Convention. He was 81 years old, and he was the oldest delegate there. At the end of the convention, he urged his fellow delegates to support the heavily debated new document. And I thought this was really important, you guys, because I think we tend to think of, oh, those founding fathers, they all got along and everything was smooth. Yeah, right, Renee? Everything was smooth sailing. If only we could be like that. Yeah, no. No, there was so much contention and so much disagreement and so much debate and so much negotiating. It's a miracle that we even had a constitution out of that group because they were humans. And they all had their own agendas, just like we do today. But what was amazing about them is their desire for freedom and autonomy outweighed their disagreements. And they came together, and Benjamin Franklin was one of the ones, I'm thinking probably using some of his humor to get them to come together and sign it. So he died at the age of 84 in April of 1790. They said that they estimated that his funeral was attended by 20,000 people, and he was buried in Philadelphia's Christ Church Cemetery beside his common law wife, Deborah. So in the end, he came back to her. So he left all his money to Boston and Philadelphia, which was used to establish trade schools and a science museum, and I think many of us have been to the Franklin Museum. His image appears on our $100 bill, and countless towns and schools and businesses all across the country are named for Benjamin Franklin. So we're all familiar with his most common quotes, and they tend to be kind of the short, pithy quotes, but I want to share some of his quotes that are not as well known. So he says, and this directly applies to knowledge and wisdom, if a man empties his purse into his head, no one can take it away from him. An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. So he says, and some of this language is a little stilted, so I'm going to do my best to make it understandable. He says, when I am employed in serving others, I do not look upon myself as conferring favors, but as paying debts. I have received much kindness from men to whom I shall never have an opportunity of making the least direct returns, and numberless mercies from God, who is infinitely above being benefited by our services. Those kindnesses from men I can, therefore, only return to their fellow men. We would call this paying it forward. And I can only show my gratitude for those mercies from God by a readiness to help his other children. At another time, he said, having lived long, I have experienced many instances of being obliged by better information or fuller consideration to change opinions, even on important subjects, which I once thought right, but found to be otherwise. And so, lest we whitewash Benjamin Franklin was a slaveholder. And he did treat his enslaved household workers well as personal servants and laborers. He was not brutal by plantation standards, but early in his life, he did view them as intellectually inferior and that they needed to be used to build his wealth. And he actively brokered slave sales through his printing shop. He owned up to 7 named enslaved individuals at various times. They cooked, cleaned, and maintained his Philadelphia mansion, and they cared for his family. He occasionally bought, sold, or accepted enslaved people as debt payments. His newspaper, the Pennsylvania Gazette, profited from running advertisements for the sale of enslaved people and bounties for runaways. So why am I bringing this up? Because he changed his mind. For much of his life, he accepted the institution of slavery. In fact, he even wrote in 1751 that he believed slave labor made white people lazy, but he continued to hold his own. But he had an experience in 1758 when he visited a school for black children. And by the 1780s, he had completely denounced the institution of slavery. And in 1787, he became president of the Pennsylvania Society for Promoting the Abolition of Slavery. And in 1790, he sent the first formal petition to the U.S. Congress calling for the abolition of slavery. So he changed his mind. He was presented with different evidence and a different perspective, and he changed his mind. Which is an example of another pithy piece of wisdom. A good example is the best sermon. I like that one. He says, men are subject to various inconveniences merely through lack of a small share of courage, which is a quality very necessary in the common occurrences of life as well as in battle. How many impertinences do we daily suffer with great uneasiness because we have not courage enough to discover our dislike? That's food for thought, right? Then he says, and I'm sure he would have invented the highlighter given time. He said, I would advise you to read with a pen in your hand and enter in a little book short hints of what you find that is curious or that may be useful, for this is the very best method of imprinting such particulars in your memory. Anybody else read with a highlighter and a pen in hand? Couple more. It is generally agreed to be folly to hazard the loss of a friend rather than to lose a jest. But few consider how easily a friend may be thus lost. Depending on the known regard their friends have for them, jesters take more freedom with friends than they would dare to do with others, little thinking how much deeper we are wounded by an affront from one we love. And then this one, I think, applies to our current situation. I promise I'm going to end on a happy note. He says, only virtuous people are capable of freedom. As nations become corrupt and vicious, they have more need of masters. And then finally, happiness consists more in small conveniences or pleasures that occur every day than in great pieces of fortune that happen but seldom to a man in the course of his life. Happiness consists more in small conveniences or pleasures that occur every day. So let's take that wisdom of Ben into meditation. Bless you.
left behind. I wanted you to know you've always shared my deepest thoughts. You follow where I go, and when I'm old and wise, bitter words mean little to me. Autumn winds will blow right through me, and someday, in the midst of time, when they ask me if I knew you, I'd smile and say you were a friend of mine, and the sadness would be lifted from my eyes. Oh, when I'm old and wise, as far as my eyes can see, there are shadows surrounding me, and to those I leave behind, I want you all to know you've always shared my deepest thoughts. I'll miss you when I go, and when I'm old and wise, heavy words that tossed and blew me like autumn winds will blow right through me, and someday, in the midst of time, when they ask you if you knew me, remember that you were a friend of mine. As the final curtain falls before my eyes, oh, when I'm old and wise, as far as my eyes can see,
breathe in the beautiful message of that song. And also recognize we don't have to be old to be wise, but it doesn't hurt. And so we allow in the wisdom that was shared today from our music and from Charles Fillmore and from Ben Franklin and from so many others that have preceded us and that have had the courage to share their wisdom. Because sometimes it takes courage. Sometimes we don't want to hear what the wise have to say. It may disrupt our comfort. It may invite us into seeing the world and our relationships and our lives in a different way. What does the old song say? Open my eyes that I may see. And so the wise among us invite us to open our eyes And at the same time, each one of us has an inner wisdom. That still small voice that's just working so hard to get our attention. In a world that has become progressively louder and busier and more opinionated. Each one of us, it truly is in every one of us to be wise. Whether we are young or old or somewhere in between. That still, small, quiet voice lives within each one of us. Just waiting for us to listen. The one that says, peace, be still. The one that says, regardless what you're seeing and hearing in the outer world, what is your heart and mind and spirit saying? Be still and listen. For you are wise. And we are listening.
And someday, in the midst of time, when they ask you if you knew me, remember that you were a friend of mine. And as the final curtain falls before my eyes, oh, when I'm old and wise,
Can we thank Janie for that gorgeous song? I know we try not to applaud for meditation songs because of this energy, but oh man, sometimes we just have to say thank you. So this is the time of our service where we do not pass the basket. We stopped doing that a long time ago. We are just so incredibly grateful for your continuing generosity and your commitment, your ongoing commitment to the work of this community. If you have something paper to share, there's a basket back there by our wonderful Dan, and then there's all sorts of ways to send it through the ethers, but mainly we just like to take this time every week to say thank you for your generosity. And so our offering song today is actually a video. So Dan, if you want to get that, and you are allowed to laugh if you feel moved.
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 99, wear sunscreen. If I could offer you. Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 99, wear
Sunscreen. If I could offer you only one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it. The long-term benefits of sunscreen have been proved by scientists, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience. I will dispense this advice now. Enjoy the power and beauty of your youth. Oh, never mind. You will not understand the power and beauty of your youth until they've faded. But trust me, in 20 years, you'll look back at photos of yourself and recall in a way you can't grasp now how much possibility lay before you and how fabulous you really looked. You are not as fat as you imagine. Don't worry about the future, or worry, but know that worrying is as effective as trying to solve an algebra equation by chewing bubblegum. The real troubles in your life are apt to be things that never crossed your worried mind, the kind that blindsides you at 4 p.m. on some idle Tuesday. Do one thing every day that scares you. Sing. Don't be reckless with other people's hearts. Don't put up with people who are reckless with yours. Floss. Don't waste your time on jealousy. Sometimes you're ahead, sometimes you're behind. The race is long, and in the end, it's only with yourself. Remember compliments you receive. Forget the insults. If you succeed in doing this, tell me how. Keep your old love letters. Throw away your old bank statements. Stretch. Don't feel guilty if you don't know what you want to do with your life. The most interesting people I know didn't know at 22 what they wanted to do with their lives. Some of the most interesting 40-year-olds I know still don't. Get plenty of calcium. Be kind to your knees. You'll miss them when they're gone. Maybe you'll marry, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll have children, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll divorce at 40. Maybe you'll dance the funky chicken on your 75th wedding anniversary. Whatever you do, don't congratulate yourself too much, or berate yourself either. Your choices are half chance. So are everybody else's. Enjoy your body. Use it every way you can. Don't be afraid of it or what other people think of it. It's the greatest instrument you'll ever own. Dance. Even if you have nowhere to do it but in your own living room. Read the directions, even if you don't follow them. Do not read beauty magazines. They will only make you feel ugly. Get to know your parents. You never know when they'll be gone for good. Be nice to your siblings. They're your best link to your past and the people most likely to stick with you in the future. Understand that friends come and go, but with a precious few, you should hold on. Work hard to bridge the gaps in geography and lifestyle, because the older you get, the more you need the people you knew when you were young. Live in New York City once, but leave before it makes you hard. Live in Northern California once, but leave before it makes you soft. Travel. Accept certain inalienable truths. Prices will rise, politicians will philander, you too will get old. And when you do, you'll fantasize that when you were young, prices were reasonable, politicians were noble, and children respected their elders. Respect your elders. Don't expect anyone else to support you. Maybe you have a trust fund, maybe you'll have a wealthy spouse. But you never know when either one might run out. Don't mess too much with your hair, or by the time you're 40, it will look 85. Be careful whose advice you buy, but be patient with those who supply it. Advice is a form of nostalgia. Dispensing it is a way of fishing the past from the disposal, wiping it off, painting over the ugly parts, and recycling it for more than it's worth. But trust me on the sunscreen.
Yeah, everybody.
bless you. We appreciate you. And
We behold the Christ in each and every one of you. Together, we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I
Stand for love. I stand for peace. I stand for joy and for release. For what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope. I stand for you. You know our world is in great pain. She needs our loving care again. Yet there are those who fail to see what we have done and what we need. There is a cost for every act, and now there is no turning back. We burn a bridge, we bang a drum. It's time to rise, the time has come. If you're thinking it's not urgent, that we've got more time to kill, if I'm not the one who changed things, then for heaven's sake, who will? So I will move and I will climb that mountain one step at a time. I won't be swayed, I will not stop until we've made it to the top, where we will stand for love and peace. We'll stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful and true. We'll stand for hope, we'll stand for you, for what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope, I stand for you.
As the light of God we shine. As the love of God we embrace. As the power of God we stand in truth. As the presence of God we radiate love. Wherever we are the divine in expression, and all is well with our souls. So in honor of Father's Day, and to reflect on something that Ben said, where the best example is the best sermon, I remember when we were living in Phoenix, and our neighbor came over and said to my dad, "What do you think about that neighbor, those neighbors, that family that just moved in down the street?" And a black family had just moved in to our very white neighborhood. I didn't know what a bigot was until that moment. And my dad said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, what do you think we should do about them?" And my dad said, "You know, you are reminding me that I have been remiss and that I have not walked down and welcomed them to the neighborhood." Sometimes the best example is the best sermon. Thanks, Dad. Have a wonderful week. Go forth and be willing to share your incredible wisdom with the world. Have the courage to share your wisdom with the world. Amen? All right. Bye-bye, our YouTube and Facebook friends. We love you so much. Have a wonderful week. And I will see you all in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Get to know your parents. You never know when they'll be gone for good. Be nice to your siblings. They're your best link to your past and the people most likely to stick with you in the future. Understand that friends come and go, but with a precious few, you should hold on. Work hard to bridge the gaps in geography and lifestyle, because the older you get, the more you need the people you knew when you were young. Live in New York City once, but leave before it makes you hard. Live in Northern California once, but leave before it makes you soft. Travel. Accept certain inalienable truths. Prices will rise, politicians will philander, you too will get old. And when you do, you'll fantasize that when you were young, prices were reasonable, politicians were noble, and children respected their elders. Respect your elders. Don't expect anyone else to support you. Maybe you have a trust fund, maybe you'll have a wealthy spouse, but you never know when either one might run out. Don't mess too much with your hair, or by the time you're 40, it will look 85. Be careful whose advice you buy, but be patient with those who supply it. Advice is a form of nostalgia. Dispensing it is a way of fishing the past from the disposal, wiping it off, painting over the ugly parts, and recycling it for more than it's worth. But trust me on the sunscreen.